Hello and welcome to Rise Unwind. My name is Dan. You know, each and every week we talk to people from across the country about things you can do right now in your neighborhood. And on this week's show, we got this.
It's usually a sign that there's bacteria that has turned into plaque and tartar and built up on your dog's teeth. That's the most common cause of bad dog breath.
The storms are getting more frequent, more intense. We're seeing this across the country, the wildfires in the west, the tornadoes and storms in the central part of the country, and of course, in Florida and on the eastern seaboard, you've got the risk of hurricanes.
Chicken breast, if you can't even be bothered to cook it, again, back to the grocery store, get one of those beautiful rotisserie chickens.
You know, I get an in because I'm always here and I'm boots on the ground here at actual Netflix.
All of that and more right here on Rise and Unwind. Ever wonder what happens when family, business, and real life all collide in front of a television audience? The latest season of the McBee Dynasty follows one family as they deal with major challenges on the farm, growing families, and some big decisions about the future. Joining us today are Cole McBee and Kacie Adkison from Bravo's The McBee Dynasty, Real American Cowboys. Welcome to the show, you two. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Thank you for having us on today.
All right, for people who may have just been discovering the show, what have surprised viewers most about life on the farm and everything your family is pretty much juggling?
Oh, I would say for my family specifically, it's probably about how much drama we have on this show. I mean, we're four brothers, and the amount of drama is absolutely insane. But also, last few years has been probably the toughest years of our life. We've been going through the most problems, and obviously my dad's situation has been a really tough year. So just get to see us in our toughest time, I'd say.
And Cole, this season shows you balancing fatherhood, family responsibilities, and the future of the business. What has that experience been like for you personally?
It's definitely been, it's been a lot. It's been a lot of weight on my shoulders, but I definitely would not be able to get through it and be able to do this without Kacie, without Blair, without my family. They're the reason, they're my reason every day. And they're the reason I get up and the reason I'm able to keep going, I guess, and keep pushing through and deal with all the stuff and deal with all the problems while doing this is just because I want to give my family, I want to give my kid and my future kid a better life. And I guess, I don't know, that's just how we keep going and get through all these problems is we do it for each other and for our family.
And Kacie, you're raising a young family while also growing your own business. What have you learned about balancing those two worlds?
It's not easy. And whenever you commit to something like a business, you have to go full in. And I was trying at first to do it out of my kitchen. And then we realized, you know what, that's not going to work. I can't run a business out of my home with my little baby running around. But my child is also my reason behind my business. And I want to just have a successful business and just provide a certain type of lifestyle for her. So, yeah.
And one thing that stands out about the series is that viewers get to see both the business side and your personal side of your lives. Was there a moment this season that was especially difficult or maybe even rewarding to share on camera?
Obviously, with my dad's situation, I mean, we filmed the day of, the day before, the day after. We filmed every single day through that week. And watching your dad get sentenced to prison, which I know people have gone through this and gone through much worse, but it's not fun to go through. It's not easy to go through. It's something that's pretty tough. So that would be, I don't think that would be too much fun to watch back just because we're moving on from that and we've been moving on from that. But I still think that's pretty, that's a lot for a family to put out there. And we definitely put it all out there. So I just hope people, show some respect to the fact that we're going through the toughest part of our life and we just wanted to put it all out there for people to see. And when we started this show years ago, that was the one thing we all agreed on. We're like, hey, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it. We're going to put it all out there. We're going to show 100% of everything. We're going to be authentic. And that's exactly what we've been. Probably shown a little too much. Probably should have calmed down a little bit in the past seasons or not been so authentic. But that's just who we are. And we're just an open book. So we put it all out there, and we'll just see how it goes.
Also, with so much changing for the family, what do you hope viewers take away from the season of the McBee Dynasty?
All right. I would say I just hope people see, I've been saying this a lot, but to see a family that was going through a tough issue and going through problems, but they stuck together and they grew closer. They got closer as they've ever been in their whole life. And that was the only reason they were able to get through it was that no matter what's going on in the world, no matter what people were saying about us, no matter what Facebook was saying, we we kept our nose to the grind, and we stuck together as a family, and we're getting through this. And I guess what I would want people to know.
All right, if anybody at home would like to catch up on everything happening with the McBee family, you can watch the McBee Dynasty, Real American Cowboys on Bravo, with episodes also available on Peacock. Cole, Kacie, I really want to thank you two for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Have you ever taken a dream opportunity only to realize something feels very wrong? That's the setup behind Strung, the new Peacock thriller from acclaimed filmmaker Malcolm D. Lee. The film follows a gifted violinist who becomes entangled in the world of a wealthy and mysterious family, where secrets seem to be hiding around pretty much every corner. Malcolm is the director behind favorites like the Best Man franchise and Girls Trip, and now he's taking audiences somewhere much darker. Malcolm, welcome.
Man, I love that intro. That was awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Thank you for that. Strung starts with a talented musician getting what seems like the opportunity of lifetime. What drew you to the story and the tension at the center of it?
You know, when I read Alan McElroy's script, I could not put it down. You know, it just was a page turner. I was talking to it out loud. It was speaking to me. I was speaking back to it, and I just said I gotta dip my toe into this genre of thrillers and this erotic psychological thriller.
You've built a career directing comedies, dramas, and ensemble films that audiences really connect with. What was exciting about stepping into the thriller genre with Strung?
You know, I think audiences still want to see these kinds of movies, you know, and I love the opportunity to do something different and outside of my comfort zone. And not necessarily outside of my comfort zone, but something different that I hadn't done before. And it was nice to not have to cut to the joke, you know, and just be able to tell the story with a different pacing, a different tone. And I want to challenge myself in that regard, get the right cast and get the right crew behind me. And this crew that I've been working with has been a crew that I've been with before and collaborated on many, many things. But to work with this cast was amazing as well.
Chloe Bailey carries so much of the story as Layla. What made her the right choice for this role, and what did she bring to the character?
You know, Chloe, I hadn't worked with before, but I knew about her, and I thought she would be a great asset to for this role. And when I saw her, and when we got to talking and we got to know each other a little bit more and work together, I was amazed by what she was able to do, because Layla has to do so many things in this movie and play so many different colors, you know, from being emotional to being vulnerable to being sexy and maternal. And all kinds of colors that she had to play, that I was just like, wow, she really, really brought a lot to the table. And I'm very, very proud of the work that she did in this movie. She's really, really talented.
One of the things that makes this film work is the atmosphere and sense of there's something not quite right. How did you approach building that suspense without giving too much away?
Yeah, you know, the thing is, everybody in this movie, every character in this movie is hiding something. You know, it's most, you know, emblematic by the little girl that she's tutoring, Zuri, with her actual mask. But everyone in this movie is masking something, whether it's trauma or grief or something to that effect. And I wanted to make sure that everything on the surface looked presentable and comely and beautiful and opulent. And so it started with the house. And you see this inviting environment that is a little antiseptic, but just like, oh, it's lush and it's beautiful. But underneath all of that, you find that there's some dark themes.
And looking at your career, you know, The Best Man, Girls Trip, and now Strung, what continues to inspire you as a storyteller, and what kinds of stories are you most interested in telling next?
Yeah, you know, I am incredibly blessed to have the opportunity to get paid for what I love to do. And I want to keep challenging myself and bringing entertainment to audiences. That's the main thing. I like to have to entertain people and make them feel good, make them feel, you know, emotions one way or another. And in this case, we're taking them on a thrill ride. And in the future, I hope to do, you know, the same kinds of things, you know, whether it's with a thriller, whether it's a comedy or a musical or a drama. I love, you know, working with actors and bringing a vision to life for audiences to enjoy.
Malcolm, I want to thank you for joining me today. Strung is now streaming on Peacock. You can watch the film and learn more by visiting peacocktv.com. Malcolm D. Lee, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks, Dan.
A parent's worst nightmare is not knowing the truth about what happened to their child. That's the mystery at the center of Netflix's new thriller, I Will Find You. The series follows a father serving time for his son's murder who suddenly receives evidence that his child may still be alive, setting off a desperate search for answers. Today, we're joined by Milo Ventimiglia, who stars as Hayden in the limited series. Welcome to the show, Milo. How are you?
Well, Dan, how are you this morning?
I'm doing good. For people who haven't started I Will Find You yet, what grabbed you about this story and made you want to be part of it?
The complexity, as well as, being a parent myself and God forbid anything happens to your child, you're going to go to the ends of the earth to find out what's going on, and hopefully get your kid back to safety. But, I found a lot of common ground with Harlan Coben and Robbie Hull, our showrunner, and was excited to do scene work with Sam Worthington and Britt Lauer and Jonathan Tucker and Logan Browning and everybody involved. Chad McBride, who, it's funny, like in my 30 years of filmmaking, like I've been on set with just about everybody on the cast to work, to be reunited and work again. So just go spend a summer with my friends making something cool.
Hayden becomes involved in a mystery that's filled with twists and secrets. What can you tell us about your character and where he fits into this story?
So Hayden Payne, I play a wealthy philanthropist who was previously connected to Britt Lauer's character, Rachel, who is the previous sister-in-law, former sister-in-law to David, Sam Worthington's character. When he breaks out of prison and goes on the hunt for his son, I come into the fold as someone who's just wanting to help. I'm there to help, use my resources, my time, whatever I can to help this man find his son.
And the series, it balances suspense, family drama, and a lot of emotional stakes. What was it like bringing those different elements together as an actor?
We're constantly doing that, role to role, job to job, show to show. You're always bringing together that complexity. But, this one was delicate because of what we were set to dance around, the real mystery, the people that were involved in this covering up of a boy who was killed. It was just a complex role, but it was, very exciting to be a part of.
Okay, so without giving anything away, what do you think audiences will be talking about after they finish I Will Find You?
Never saw it coming. God, that was fun. I think I want to watch it again to see if I can figure out if they tipped their hat in any way in the beginning of the show. It's just a great ride. It's entertaining, self-contained, and a lot of heart.
Hey, I want to thank you for being here today. I Will Find You is now streaming on Netflix. You can find the series and watch all the episodes at Netflix.com or on your Netflix app. Hey, Milo, I want to thank you for joining me today.
No problem. Thanks, Dave.
Summer is a great time to catch on the shows and movies everyone's talking about, but whether you're at home or on the road, Netflix has packed a lineup this season, plus some features that can help travel and family movie nights even easier. So joining us today is Vanessa Lachey, host of Love is Blind, The Ultimatum, and to share what's coming to Netflix this summer. Welcome to the show, Vanessa. How are you, my friend?
Thank you for having me. I'm good.
That's good to hear. I hear Netflix has a huge lineup this summer. What are some of the movies and shows that you think people should be adding to their watch list this year?
Ooh, well, I'm just excited to talk about all the fun things Netflix that people don't really know about. I get an in because I'm always here and I'm boots on the ground here at actual Netflix. But coming up, we have Enola Holmes 3. That's going to come out July 1st. For the sports fans, the MLB Home Run Derby is going to be live July 13th, which is always fun for people to watch live. The Ultimatum, as you mentioned, season 4, the show that my husband and I do, comes out July 15th, which is my wedding anniversary. What a gift. There's just something for everyone. Oh, Little House on the Prairie is going to be premiering on Netflix July 9th, and it's a beautiful reimagining of the original. But what's so great over the summer is all the features that Netflix has to offer that you just alluded to. They can download a movie or a show or the entire season. There's some really amazing remind me buttons because we all have a lot going on in our minds as it is, so we don't need to also think about when that show is going to drop that they're excited about. And the parental controls are bar none that really make it safe for our kids to be on the app and navigating the app because you have control as the parent. And what's really beautiful about Netflix Playground, specifically for little kids, is that there's no ads and there's no in-app purchases. So it's just a kid being a kid, playing games with characters they love that are on Netflix, like Peppa Pig or Sesame Street and Big Bird, Gabby's Dollhouse. So it's a really safe place for them to take a break, you know, come in, or if you're traveling, you're sitting on a plane for 5 hours, you can know that they have a safe space to go to.
All right, let's get to that season 4 of Ultimatum. Can you tell us more about this season and what kind of makes it a fun summer watch?
Oh my goodness. Well, I think that The Ultimatum is always a fun watch period, because every season is so different. And it's really a great way for people to watch these couples, how they navigate their relationships, how they navigate their trial marriages, and then when they get back to their original couple, and just kind of see what works and what doesn't work. Because I feel like so often we don't get the luxury of a third person perspective in relationships. And when I watch it with Nick, we actually talk to each other. Like, did you see how they handled that fight? Or, oh my gosh, she was doing that. Would you do that? And you kind of clock what works and what doesn't work, or what's crazy or what's not crazy. And it's a great way for relationships, I think, to get stronger. Or you kind of see the writing on the wall and you're like, man, this person is like this in the show and I need to run, kind of thing. These are red flags that I'm not seeing, but he does the same thing or she does the same thing. So it's great that it takes real life into accountability.
All right. And you also mentioned something about travel and how Netflix can make it easier. Can you tell us about some of the Netflix features or hacks that can make that easier?
I was surprised when I was telling my friends how people aren't aware of downloading on the app. You don't have to have Wi-Fi all the time to be able to access Netflix. In fact, what we do in our household is, before we have long trips when we're going coast to coast, flying or whatnot, is the kids sit down and they pick their favorite movie or shows, and we download them prior. So I'm at home with my Wi-Fi, my strong Wi-Fi, we've got it on there, and then wherever you are, when you're traveling, it's accessible to you in your profile. So the kids will just click their profile, and then whatever they've downloaded is there. And you can take it a step further and do the subtitles. So if you're, you know, on a plane, or if you're in the car and everyone's kind of got their thing going on, you can add reading to it and make it an interactive show, if you will. But again, the parental controls that I spoke about earlier, that's just a really big thing that I think is important for parents and for kids nowadays.
Vanessa Lachey, I really want to thank you for joining me today to explore everything coming to Netflix this summer, including new series, movies, games, and family favorites. Visit Netflix.com or open the Netflix app to browse the latest releases and set reminders for upcoming premieres. Vanessa, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Summer meals should be fresh and easy, not something that keeps you stuck in a hot kitchen. Whether you're cooking for the family or just looking for new ideas, a few simple shortcuts could go a long way. Joining us is chef and best-selling author and Queer Eye star Antoni Porowski with easy ways to elevate your summer cooking. Welcome to the show, Antoni. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, thanks. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm doing fine myself. What are some easy ways to elevate some summer cooking?
Okay, so the easiest way is just go to your local grocery store, pick up a bag of Fresh Express. Everything you need is pretty much inside. But if you're like me and you can't help yourself and you always have to customize things a little bit, their kits are really fantastic canvases for whatever route you want to take. Case in point, the Twisted Pesto Caesar, which is like a recent favorite of mine. I added a salmon fillet. I took the croutons that were already in a little bag, crushed them up, added some chopped almonds and fresh basil, a bit of lemon zest and parm, topped it on the salmon, roasted it, and then you have a full complete meal. Added some little polenta cubes from one of those wheels you can get that's already sort of like par cooked. So you just bake it with some paprika and Parmesan for a nice little chewy crunch. And then I had a bag of grapes laying around in the fridge, because who doesn't? Cut them in half, tossed them in some red wine vinegar for a nice little pickly acidic pop, and then you have a full complete meal.
I love it. Can you tell us about the other one that you have in front of you today?
Yes, for sure. So this is the creamy mushroom Caesar. I love mushrooms. They can add a really great deal of umami if you season them properly. So I went ahead and baked the mushrooms to have these like little bacon bits, in air quotes, because it's not literal bacon. And then chicken breast. My thing with chicken breast is that very often people overcook it and it just dries out, but it's a really good, clean source of protein. So I went ahead and seared it on a pan, and then at the end, sprinkled some Parmesan. You can use other cheeses if you prefer, but I just like the sharpness of it. And it creates this nice, beautiful, cheesy, salty crust that just keeps those juices in and gives you a pretty darn good meal.
All right. Do you have any tips for making meal prep quicker without sacrificing flavor?
Yes. So Chicken breast, if you can't even be bothered to cook it, again, back to the grocery store, get one of those beautiful rotisserie chickens that are available. Take it apart, and that's great meal prep for the week. What's nice is that often if they're only flavored with like lemon pepper or like limited herbs, you can kind of choose your own adventure with however you want to use them. And it's one of those ingredients that'll just last you a really long time.
You're also giving people a chance to cook alongside you this summer. How can viewers enter for that opportunity?
So the Cooking with Antoni contest, 25 people are going to be able to cook with me virtually, start to finish. You can get more information at freshexpresscontest.com. But we're actually going to be taking one of my takes on a Fresh Express classic and making it my own. And a lot of the tips and tricks that I use throughout, people can use for other dishes and kind of like hopefully apply them to other meals in their life. I think that's the point, right?
Exactly. Where can people go for more information?
freshexpresscontest.com.
Antoni, I want to thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Hurricane season is here, and we know how quickly a storm can force families from their homes. So finding a place to stay can be one of the biggest challenges after a disaster. Joining us is Christoph Gorder, Executive Director of Airbnb.org, a nonprofit that helps connect people with free emergency housing when hurricanes and other disasters strike. Welcome to the show, Christoph. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me on. It's good to be on.
Hurricane season is underway, and these storms seem to be getting stronger. What are you seeing on the ground, and how is Airbnb.org preparing?
Well, you're absolutely right. The storms are getting more frequent, more intense. We're seeing this, across the country, the wildfires in the west, the tornadoes and storms in the central part of the country, and of course, in Florida and on the eastern seaboard, you've got the risk of hurricanes. And so we all need to be very vigilant. And the good news is we're more prepared than we ever have been. The forecasting models are better than they ever have been. The communications methods are better than they ever have been. And organizations like ours, like Airbnb.org, are better prepared to be able to move quickly when there is a disaster to help survivors. In our case, we provide emergency housing to people who've been displaced.
Airbnb.org has now provided 1.6 million nights of free emergency housing since 2020. How does that process work when disaster strikes?
So when there's a disaster, we partner with a local nonprofit, and they help us identify the families in need. So by working with a nonprofit that's active locally, they're already embedded in the community. Many times they're able to provide a lot of other services. And so we fit into an existing system. And when they identify the families and send them to us, they refer them to us, and we then transfer Airbnb credits, basically do a cash transfer into that family's Airbnb account. If they don't have an Airbnb account, we set one up for them. And then they get to book whatever Airbnb they want and have a free stay. And so that is really hugely impactful for a family that has lost control over lots of aspects of their lives. They might have lost their homes. Now they can choose the place that fits for them. They may need a wheelchair accessible place that takes pets. They want to be near their kid's school. And so the power of this is that they are able to hop on and find any Airbnb anywhere in the network that's going to fit their family's needs.
Besides making a donation, what is the best way for people to get involved and help their communities before the next hurricane?
Well, I mean, the most important thing is that you make a plan, and make a plan with your family so that you're ready when this happens and you're not improvising, and then pay attention to the hurricane warnings and the instructions, from local emergency management authorities. That's what saves lives and helps people get out of harm's way. I think when the disaster happens, then we're ready to swing into action and start housing people. If you want to learn more about our program, you can hop on our website, Airbnb.org. You can learn about the programs that we're running around the world. I mean, we respond to a different disaster every 2 days around the world, and there's always something going on, and there's a huge need out there.
So where can people go to become an Airbnb.org host or even make a donation themselves?
So you can jump on our website. If you're an Airbnb host, you can sign up for the program. We have tens of thousands of hosts who offer discounts to us so that our donation dollars go further. And if you want to make a donation, 100% of your donation is going to get transferred directly to a family in need. And that's because Airbnb covers all of our operating expenses. So the model works really, really well. We've been able to help a lot of people in Florida already. Just over the course of the last 5 years, we've provided more than 40,000 nights of free stays just in Florida. So we hope you never need our services, but if you do, we're here to help.
Christoph Gorder, I really want to thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me on.
Dog owners know the feeling. You You lean in for a little quality time with your best friend, and suddenly their breath steals the moment. Not only is it gross, but it could also be a sign of a time to pay a little more attention to your dog's oral health. Pet parenting expert Kristen Levine joins us with some simple ways to help get those moments a little more enjoyable. Great to have you here, Kristen. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. It's great to be here.
All right. Is bad breath something that comes with having a dog, or is it usually a sign that something else is going on?
Well, it can be, but it's usually a sign that there's bacteria that has turned into plaque and tartar and built up on your dog's teeth. That's the most common cause of bad dog breath. Now, that's kind of a red flag for pet parents. You should realize that that might be a reason to pay more attention to their oral health care routine, like you mentioned. But also, bad dog breath comes in between our dog and our relationship. You don't want to cuddle and snuggle as much when your dog has bad breath. So we want to get that taken care of so you can enjoy those benefits of being so close to your dog.
And for people who want to improve their dog's oral health, what are a few easy habits that can easily become part of a daily routine?
Yeah, I have 4 habits to share with you, and this will take care of the problem for sure. The first one is make sure you're making those annual veterinary appointments. For the general checkup. Those always include a dental exam, and your vet is the one that can tell you if your dog needs a teeth cleaning. Also, they can identify if there's any other problems that might be causing that odor. But at home, there are 3 other habits you can implement for fresher dog breath. And those include making sure your dog has plenty of fresh, clean water, because dehydration can actually contribute to bad breath. Also, you want to try to brush your dog's teeth if you can once, even twice a week. Any brushing you can do is really going to cut down on that plaque and tartar. And then the third habit I want you to implement, which is going to be your dog's favorite, and that is adding dental treats to your daily routine. And ideally, you want to use something that obviously your dogs enjoy, but also has some properties that are going to really improve their breath.
And dental treats, they become really popular. What should pet parents know before choosing one, and how do Minty's Fresh Bites fit in that overall approach?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you want to look for something that has ingredients that are going to support fresh breath. Of course, you want a treat that has a good texture that your dog will enjoy and stay engaged with. And ideally, you want a treat that's low in calories so that you can treat them multiple times a day. And that's why here at our house, Tulip gets Minty's Fresh Bites 4 times a day. I love them because they've got 5 all natural breath freshening herbs like parsley and peppermint. They're only 7.5 calories a piece, and they also have a texture that she really enjoys chewing on. So we've built a routine at our house that she gets 4 a day. One is before her morning walk. One is before her afternoon nap. One she gets for just being a good girl, and then one at bedtime. And by building it in multiple times a day, you're not over-treating because the calories are so low, but you're also giving them a chance to chew and get the benefit of those herbs and also of that scraping of the plaque and tartar.
All right, so if viewers want to learn more or find additional pet care resources, where should they go?
Yeah, they can just visit mintys.com. You can also pick up those Fresh Bites at Walmart, Chewy, Amazon, and Petco.
Kristen Levine, I really want to thank you for joining me today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
And that is it for Rise Unwind. I want to thank you for tuning in and checking out the show. You can find us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube. Just look up at Rise Unwind. And until next week, that was the show we like to call Rise and Unwind.